folks. So today I will be doing a reading for Jeffrey Epstein. I want to take it seriously, right? So I will be creating a protection circle using images of adult women so that Jeffrey Epstein is contained if we happen to actually make contact. Jeffrey Epstein doesn't like adult women, so he's not going to want to move, right? And then, of course, we'll use this as a way to give him a little bit of comfort so he can just stay within this little area. I'm not saying that Jeffrey Epstein is who's going to be answering my questions. I don't really believe it works that way. I believe it is all just energy. The person who is Jeffrey Epstein is dissolved by nature. His body has been destroyed. His brain is eradicated. The signals are no longer being sent. And his energy has been released into the air. But don't worry, folks. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm totally going to be fine. Trust me on that. My plan is to get in contact and try to understand why didn't Donald Trump release the Epstein files? Is it just like something like totally innocent that he's a totally good boy who didn't do anything wrong? I don't know. Maybe Epstein will let us know. We don't need to ask, are you with us? Nothing like that. I'm not doing no Ouija stuff, all right? So we're going to draw a card for Epstein just to get a general vibe here. What's going on, Epstein? Is the afterlife okay? Are you even a dead body? What should we even know? I mean, like, it may not have anything to do with being dead. Epstein, what is a good representation, pal? No, you're not my pal. Sorry. We got a Queen of Wands. And I would say that I think that it seems that he's probably ready to, to work with us here. I think giving a shit about whatever he cared about during his life no longer matters. So that's good. I think this stuff is not even necessary, but, it's not a hindrance. We're going to keep everything as is, but it's nice to know he's ready. I mean, he's ready to work with it. What was Epstein's role in the world? I think we all know what it was to some degree, but I'm curious. What did the cards say? Ooh, the Ace of Swords, which is like, okay, so he's a ideas guy. He's the guy who makes things happen. I mean, that makes sense. He's very involved in sparking. I mean, he was a billionaire who was part of a large blackmail operation, allegedly working with Mossad. It might have been his idea to even get, I mean, yeah, that's probably a way to look at it. Jeffrey Epstein brought the concept of blackmailing wealthy, powerful people to the table. So Epstein, when it comes to Israel, let's just get straight to it, right? When it comes to Israel, what should we know? Your association with Israel. Let's get the shuffle on camera, because this is very important. We don't need any Zionists coming to the comments saying you didn't shuffle the camera, or you didn't shuffle on camera. I can't even edit out my verbal flubs because I'm shuffling, right? I can't be editing through the shuffle. For sure. Whatever comes up. Ooh, reverse lovers. So I'm detecting like a contentious relationship, but a relationship nonetheless. A very close one, too. It just wasn't, magical and beautiful. It wasn't that kind of thing. They had a very dark association. Yeah, makes perfect sense. I'm just glad that this stuff always tells me exactly what I believe. So it's almost as if my mind is creating reality and that reality doesn't exist outside of my mind. Well, that's weird. Anyways, let's go into the big question. Donald Trump, Epstein, and Trump. What should we know about D. Trump? Nine of Wands. Interesting. Now, is this... Now, I gotta ask a question, because is it that are you telling Trump to push through? Is that how we should read this? That Donald Trump is trying to just like bury this shit and move on, and from the way I see it, he's probably just going to get away with it. So that is kind of what I'm getting out of a Nine of Wands reading for this. So is it the case that you believe Donald Trump is going to be able to successfully pull off this ruse? Or is this a message to the people? Actually, you know what? That's how we'll do it. One card for, how does this relate to Donald Trump specifically, like as a message or as a plan of action? And then the other card for, how does this relate to the people, if it's meant for them at all? All right, so we got our D-Trump, Queen of Cups, and we got our people, Ace of Cups. This is very interesting because, like, Ace of Cups for the people, to me, tells me that, you may not have the evidence that you need to believe in what you believe, but otherwise, for show. If you're wondering if Donald Trump is burying the list because he's complicit, then yeah, that's exactly what the truth is. As for Trump, it's more of a matter of like emotional kung fu, or not even kung fu. What would be the right term? Like judo, emotional judo. You're just kind of like going with the flow. You're not. The best thing for Donald Trump would be to not be emotionally reactive in a defensive way. It would be like you should transfer your emotions to be a bit more loosey-goosey, go with the flow kind of guy. Like I said, judo. Now, the way I would interpret it, that's an interesting card to get because I don't know if I can give a definitive answer for this. The Nine of Wands to the Queen of Cups, to me, kind of says, all right, Donald Trump, he's already gotten away with it. He already did what he had to do to get away with it. At this point, he just needs to be chill, but be okay with being a little bit like himself, really. He tap into what he makes him strong, which is being himself. I want to get a little bit more about like the client list or something. Is there a smoking gun? There we go. Is there a smoking gun out there? Because, what's the point? All right? What's the point in tapping into the knowledge of the other side? If, like there was once this joke that I would hear Jay Leno say. It's like, something you never read in a newspaper is psychic wins lottery. Okay, well, there we go. What the hell? We got a magician card over here. And we got a Knight of Cups. Magician and a Knight of Cups. Okay, so yeah, no, we have to give up on this thing because Donald Trump did what he had to do. All right? But it's not just Knight of Cups, which would be, in my opinion, if the Knight of Cups came out, I would just say, all right, yeah, we got to give up. This is it. Donald Trump is successful. He got away with it, folks. But we also got a Magician card. That kind of tells us that this whole thing isn't completely hopeless, at least for the individuals who care about it. If we're looking for social justice here, if we're looking for like some kind of, yes, we got him. We got the president of the United States who killed Epstein, right? Jeffrey Epstein died in prison while Donald Trump was president. So we know he killed him, right? We know he's on the client list because he buried the list. We could see Donald Trump doing this, right? But this is a message for all of us. These two cards together. We, as individuals, need to kind of focus on what we can manipulate, which are the things right in front of us. Can I, right? Can I bring down Trump with tarot cards? Probably not. That's not how that works. I haven't been able to manifest the universe to do that for me. So like until I can do that, I'm going to just have to like operate within the bounds of physical reality. Donald Trump got away with it. As far as global shit goes, Mossad, Donald Trump, Israel, the American government, the Catholic Church, they get away with it. And there's not much we can do about that as a global thing. As individuals, we need to focus on what we can change within our own bounds. If you want to change things on a global scale, you need to work your way up, right? And that means you might have to intermingle with evil people and do evil things. So it's a very tricky path to take if you actually want to change the world. But nonetheless, no matter what, as an individual, the world that you're navigating is at your whim. Everything in front of you, every person you interact with, those are the people that you can make an influence on. Now, I'm not saying be a fucking social manipulator. That's something that, as a personal moral, I am very opposed to. I believe that if you start getting into all this kind of stuff, what I've decided to do because I started getting into all this stuff is to relinquish the need for others to do what I want them to do. I'm not going to allow that to happen. That doesn't mean that I don't get temptations, especially when it comes to global politics. But let's face it, when it comes to like Donald Trump, to penetrate that energy, you're gonna get a lot of pushback, and that's another thing. It's not simply a matter of it's just morally wrong to try to control others. It's also a fact that we're talking about someone who has a defensive barrier. So if you try to it's like, you try to go into a government building with a certain type of machine that you can carry that sprays a lot of little things, and sure, maybe you can get some stuff done by doing that, but you're gonna get arrested or killed in the process, and then your journey is over. So there's always pushback, whether you decide to go the physical route or the magical route. But I do believe that this is the message we're getting, is that you can really like look back at my other readings. It's not uncommon for this to be a conclusion when it comes to global things. Yeah, look, anything's possible. I'm of that school of thought to some degree, at least. You need to mentally get there in order for that to work. What if you take tarot seriously, then why wouldn't you accept the messages that are being told to you, right? It's all up in the air. What if all of this is fake? I don't believe that for a second. What are we gonna do? Make memes all day about how Donald Trump is actually bearing the list, because that is the truth. That's what the news is telling us. That's what Donald Trump is telling us. He's bearing the list. He's not going to release it. He's going to just move on. That's what he has successfully done. Okay, one more. We got to get one more drawing. Let's wrap it up, folks. Let's just... What are we going to learn from all this? If anything, what should we get out of this whole thing? Reverse Page of Cups. Interesting. I mean, what I like about this is that this kind of gives me a little bit of hope into what I don't know if this card is just meant for me, but technically all these cards, it's kind of the process, right? It's not like it's meant for anyone specifically. I'm just kind of tapping into the subconscious, which is very potent. Not all hope is lost. We need to work with each other. I need to seek help. Not psychological, but I need help. Maybe this is something that everyone who watches or anyone who I interact with, it doesn't matter. We all need to give more of a shit about these things, and we need to find ways to spread the message so that we can truly influence things. I think that's kind of what this is saying. If we're worried truly about global sex trafficking, if we're worried about the truth coming out regarding Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein and Mossad and Israel, there's a lot of fucking shit going on in the world. We need to be creative. We need to do something a little different, and we need to work with each other. We need to ask other people, hey, could you look at this this series of videos Donald Trump and Pam Bondi talking about the client list, and then not, and then all of a sudden implying that we shouldn't give a shit about Jeffrey Epstein anymore, and that we shouldn't care that there was a minute of footage missing from the security camera that initially was told to us was shut down. I think we're going to, everyone who voted for Trump that we know personally, we're going to need to ask them to help us figure out why Donald Trump isn't 100% guilty of something. Hopefully they'll be able to give us some answers. Fuck it, I'll just speak what's coming to my mind, which is, ask if you know someone who voted for Trump, who's still a Trump supporter, who's like dismissive of this Epstein stuff. Ask them to help you understand how Donald Trump is innocent and why we should not care about the Epstein client list anymore. Me personally, I've cared about this Epstein stuff ever since I found out that you can even look up the flight logs on Google. Like, not through the articles where they give you a summary of the flight logs. Like, there are actual flight logs available on Google. You Google it, you can find it. It's all handwritten, so some of it's very illegible, but you'll see some common names. So ever since I found that, I was like, okay, so this is stuff that we can spread information about. We could do something about. Yeah, next time you see your friend who voted for Trump, ask them to help you understand why Donald Trump would bury the Epstein list and be very defensive when asked about it. Hopefully they'll give you some good answers. They might say something like, oh, if Trump was on the list, then the Democrats would have released it. You can just say, well, what if there's a lot of wealthy, powerful people, both on the right and the left, who are on that list? So Donald Trump is just part of the cabal of people who don't want to get exposed, and that's that. They're going to throw a lot of things at you, trying to suggest, but just keep asking them to help you understand. You don't need to be combative, because then they'll just, be defensive about it. Just say, help me understand why Donald Trump is so, dismissive of the concept of Jeffrey Epstein being a real serious thing that we should all take seriously. And I think if you keep asking that, eventually, even if on that day you haven't changed their mind, I think they're really going to think about it overnight. And I think quickly a lot of his supporters are just going to stop being his supporter, because they realize that he is compromised. He's corrupted. They can't support Trump anymore because he's clearly involved. Even Alex Jones, he's getting off that sinking ship. He's not going to fall for that. I mean, Alex Jones, we all know, is a grifter. I'll probably do a reading for him soon. Even he's like, oh shit, no, fuck that. I guess Donald Trump's on the list or whatever. I'm not going to pretend that he didn't do it for any other reason. Okay, so that's it. Thank you.